the early 2000s apparently didn't have great technology because most of these CDs are just white. I'm Luna Sommer. Today I'm gonna actually be going through my old CD collection. I do have another one of these cases, so if you want to see an ASMR version of this, I could totally do that on Patreon. I can go through this one again, as well as the second case, if I can find the second case, because to be honest, this was the only one that I was able to find. I am a Gen Z. I was born in the first few years of technically being Gen Z, so I have memories that I feel like some millennials would probably connect with. I remember going to YouTube for the first time on a bulky computer before there was a such thing as apps, really. I remember being so excited to go on there because it was videos, but they were on a computer, and the people on YouTube just seemed so much more relatable back then, especially compared to anyone on television. It was just such an exciting time. Although I don't have that many things that I feel like millennials could really relate to because I was a child, I was not allowed to do a lot of the teenage stuff just because I was so young. But a memory that I feel like both early Gen Z people and millennials can relate to would be anything involving technology, and back then, this was really before iTunes kicked off. I mean, technically you could like burn a CD into iTunes. I remember doing that with a Taylor Swift CD. I don't know how legal that was, but like I did it. But CDs were the thing that you could rely on back then. So a bunch of people had a bunch of CDs. These are just some of mine. I've actually found at least one DVD also in this case, so we'll go through that as well. Obviously, this first one is a Miley Cyrus Time of Our Lives CD. I love the color of this. Back then, I feel like graphics were harder to superimpose on CDs. This just reminds me of the era where Miley was slowly leaving Disney. Okay, next, anticlimactic but pretty empty. We have two iconic people on the Disney Channel. This one's going to be really hard to see, but this one is a Vanessa Hudgens CD. Again, I feel like this was kind of a period in time when she was slowly leaving the Disney Channel. And there's Hilary Duff's Metamorphosis CD. I loved this CD as a child. I listened to this, I don't know how many times, but definitely a lot more than the Miley Cyrus one. I just examined this one versus the Miley Cyrus one, and there's like 6 years difference between them. Obviously, the Hilary Duff one is older. I just remember Hilary Duff being the first celebrity that I identified as a celebrity, I guess, and I was really excited for everything that she did. I was heartbroken when she went off of Disney. With Miley, I felt similarly, but I was also a little bit older. So I felt like I could see a clear progression for her career, whereas with Hilary, I was so young that I didn't really pay attention to pop culture outside of Disney. I didn't watch MTV. I didn't watch any kind of reality TV show. I didn't really watch any television show that was aimed at teenagers just because I was so young. So it was heartbreaking for me. I felt very insecure about what I was gonna watch if Hilary Duff left Disney, and obviously every child star grows up. I swear I just heard something in the house and I went to look around and I'm alone. Anyway, I lost my train of thought, but Then I remembered when I started watching Gossip Girl for the first time, which was later on, like in the 2010s. And I remember Hilary Duff being on Gossip Girl, and I was starstruck all over again. It was just like I was a little kid all over again. That was amazing. Okay, no surprise, but here's another Hilary Duff CD, Most Wanted. I did not listen to this one as much as Metamorphosis. There were a few songs on this that, according to my little kid self, were definitely big hits, but it wasn't as memorable as Metamorphosis. I felt like I needed to get it out of the case because the next CD/DVD was going to take all of the attention away from that. It's just a basic white CD. Like, the early 2000s apparently didn't have great technology because most of these CDs are just white. The next CD in this case is the crossover episode of That's So Raven, Sweet Love of Zack and Cody, and Hannah Montana. I'll take this one out so that you guys can get a better look at it. Although I do feel like this was definitely older than this, and they did successfully like superimpose pictures of people on the CD. So I'm so confused by Hilary Duff's design team at the time. Anyway, I've watched this episode so many times, and then like the Wishing on a Star episode, I don't think that was this one, but I'm not positive. So many memories. Younger Gen Z people, I have a question for you, and you can leave it in the comments. Do you remember all of these people being on Disney Channel? I mean, I'm sure you remember Zack and Cody and Hannah Montana, yeah, but do you remember That's So Raven? I feel like that ended a little bit earlier than the rest of them. I'm genuinely curious to know, because I was technically born within the first 3 years of like being considered a Gen Z, and I'm always curious about what younger people remember about Disney. The question that I have about these is, will CDs ever be used again? By me specifically, like, will I ever be in an off-the-grid situation where iTunes and Spotify have failed me and I'll go back to these? Because honestly, I'd be pretty happy about that. These are really nostalgic. I'm also not trying to say that nobody uses CDs anymore, because I'm sure depending on what kind of car you have, that could be a pretty good option for providing entertainment for you. Like, not everyone has a car that has Bluetooth. We're down to the last one in this particular case, and I'm pretty sure that I've already spoiled this with the thumbnail. I just know myself. I know which one I'm gonna choose for the thumbnail, but it is Taylor Swift Fearless. I listened to this so much, like, other than Hilary Duff, I never had another celebrity that I was super interested in and excited about hearing new music specifically from until Taylor entered my life. The first time that I ever heard a Taylor Swift song, and I know I've told this story before on another video related to Taylor, but it was on MySpace. It was on my cousin's MySpace account. It was like her song. I was not allowed to have a MySpace because, again, I was too young. I'm not a millennial. I remember the first time that I heard a song, it was Our Song by Taylor Swift, and I was hooked from the beginning. So that's it for this case. I also want to mention that I have Lover. And I also have Debut. You can't see it, but it's behind this stack of books right here. It's always on this shelf behind me whenever I'm filming. I would say that my two favorite albums from Taylor are Speak Now and Lover. I swore that I had the Speak Now CD somewhere, but I can't find it. I have core memories of having an iPod and a Nintendo DS and walking around stores with my mom when I was little with headphones in, just listening to Taylor Swift on repeat, especially her Fearless album for some reason. I remember listening to that while being forced to shop with my mom so many times. And playing like Animal Crossing or Pokemon, that was a whole vibe. I'm an only child, obviously. I swear that I filmed a video somewhat like this before, but it wasn't for this channel. I've had multiple YouTube channels over the years. It's kind of like my ultimate goal to make a sustainable living on YouTube. Like, honestly, I don't care about the subscriber count. I don't care about how famous someone is or myself. I just really want to make a sustainable income from this. That's the goal. And I feel like I've filmed a video that was very similar to this in the past. But here we are, and I know that there's not another video like this on my channel. If you want an ASMR version of this video, maybe I dive into more memories that I have in particular with these CDs instead of just hauling through them pretty quickly, as well as going through a whole other CD case that I know that I have somewhere. It just didn't happen to be back there. Then you can request that on Patreon, so check out my Patreon for an ASMR version of this video. Anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I didn't repeat myself too much. I love nostalgia. I love the early 2000s. This CD case, to me, on its own, is pretty nostalgic because what would you use something like this for if, like, you download most of your stuff these days? I don't know of another use for this. Anyway, stay beautiful.